Afternoon to you once again, those who are watching me from far and near, those who are far places enjoying my lesson, all those who normally partake in my online learning. I greet all of you. Good afternoon. Uh, so today, as we are meeting, I want to bring to you Form 2 topics. Those who are going to Form 2, wherever you are, you can relax yourself comfortably on your chairs whilst we take the lessons that is coming on. And back in our previous meeting, we learned something about light energy. We learned about luminous and non-luminous bodies. We learned about transparent, opaque, and transparent materials. And there on the board, we have chemical elements. And that is a topic I'm going to discuss up with you. So if you know you are watching me, comfort yourself on your chairs whilst you take your pens and your books and jot down certain important things which are capable of hampering your mind, and then you all continue up with it. Thank you very much. And as we have on the board, that is chemical elements. So if you know you are watching me, you can say it after me. Chemical elements. Chemical elements. That is a topic we are going to discuss. And now, with chemical elements, you have heard of what chemicals are. You know what chemicals are. Back in your primary level, you made mention of, you learned about what chemicals were. You learned about chemical energy, and you said fossil fuels, petrol, and those things, all of them are chemicals. So if that is so, can we now apply it in this topic? Chemical elements, chemical elements, chemical elements. Now, let's tackle the topic as we are seeing it on the board. Now, when you say elements, what comes into your head? Just think and then give me a reply of it through social media. Just think about it. Back in your Form 1, you learn something that you call matter. You learn that matter is anything which has mass and it can occupy space. That was what you learned. And more to the point, you move further to learn about the three main basic components of what? Matter. And you learn that they were ions, atoms, and then molecules. That was what you learned, that every matter is made up of three basic particles, which are atoms, ions, and then molecules. And you made mention that with atoms, they are the smallest particle units of an element. You learned that atoms are the smallest particle unit of what? An element. So meaning, a group of atoms, when they are being brought together, it will form what you call an element. Are you getting it? There is a need for you to understand it before I will now introduce what you call the element to you. So if atoms are the smallest particle unit of an element, then meaning we can get atoms from what we call elements. A group of atoms will form what you call what? Elements. Are you getting what I'm telling you? If you are watching me. And not that one as such. With ions and the molecules in which you have all learned about, the atoms can also go further to what? To be combined to form what you call ions and then the molecules. I believe you are getting what I'm telling you. It is not the particles of the atom in which you are going to discuss about, but there is a need for you to understand these two terms, these three particles, before we move further to know what elements are all about. Okay, very good. So for the fact that you have understood what atoms are, that atoms are a group of, atom is the smallest particle unit of an element, then if that is so, can we take atoms to be something like this? So if these ones are atoms, let's take a conductor like aluminium. Aluminium is very big. Your zincs, your roofing sheets. When you take aluminium, the aluminium that you see as a solid material, it consists of so many tiny, smaller particles. And when these particles are being brought together, it will form what? That kind of aluminium in which you normally see, or in which you have been using for your roofing sheets. So meaning the aluminium itself is what? Is an element. Aluminium is an element. So aluminium is an element because it is formed from what you call what? Atoms. I hope you are getting what I'm telling you. It is made up of what? Atoms, just like the human body. The human body consists of so many cells. Tiny cells, smaller cells in which you cannot see with your naked eye. So when these cells are combined, it will form what? A tissue. And when these tissues are also combined, it will form what? An organ. So with aluminum zinc, it is also something like that. Are you getting what I'm telling you? So a group of atoms will form what? An element. So for the fact that we are dealing with aluminum, that when a group of atoms are being brought together, it will form aluminum. So meaning aluminum is formed from what? Atoms. So aluminium. So if aluminum is formed from atoms, meaning aluminum is what? An element. Yes, if aluminum is formed from atoms or a group of atoms, meaning aluminum is what? An element. Are you getting what I'm telling you? And apart from the fact that aluminum is formed from a group of atoms, then let's come to something like a copper. You know what a copper is? We have a copper wire. The material in which normally we have been using to make electrical cables and those things, and I believe you know them. So that's what you call copper wire. You have been saying copper wire, copper wire, copper wire. Yes. So when you take a copper wire, there are also atoms which have been combined chemically. They have been combined chemically. That is why we are dealing with chemical elements. They have been combined chemical, or by chemical means. So when you take a material like aluminum, it also consists of what? A group of atoms. So if a group of atoms can form aluminum, the same group of atoms can lead to the formation of what we call what? Copper. So for the fact that aluminum is considered to be an element, so meaning copper too is what? An element, because it is formed from what? An atom. I hope you are getting what I'm telling you. So with a brief introduction that I've given to you about chemical elements, then as you are sitting down, you can comfort yourself, frame your own definition about what an element is. Now when they say an element, what is an element? Wherever you are, when they say an element, what is it about? Or explain the term an element. Now, an element can be defined as a group of atoms. An element can be defined as a group of atoms that cannot be broken down into any more simpler substances by any known chemical means. A group of atoms that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any known chemical means. So when you take the element aluminum, you can realize that with aluminum, when you split it into smaller particles to form atoms, with the atoms, you can no longer split it or divide it to form any more what? Smaller particles. Yes, it can never be possible. Go and bring a broomstick. So by the time you bring a broomstick, the broomstick is considered to be somehow large or very long. So you can realize that when you break the broomstick into smaller particles, it will come to a time that those smaller particles, it will be so tiny to your fingers that you can no longer break it into furthermore what? Simpler substance. Something like this. Let me just say this one is a broomstick. This one is a broomstick. So with this one I can break it. So when I break it, meaning it is divisible. You can divide it into smaller particles. But when I divide here, divide this, divide up to this level. When you take one part of it, something like this, you can realize that this one is so tiny in such a way that your finger cannot hold it to break it. So that is how elements are all about. That is why they are saying an element is a substance that is made up of what? Atoms, and cannot be further broken down into any more simpler substance by any known chemical means. So you can never use chemical process to divide what? Atoms into smaller particles once again. But they are what? They are indivisible particle of an element. That is another definition of atom. Indivisible particle of an element is what we call what? Atoms, meaning you can no longer be divided. They can no longer be divided into any more simpler substances. Are you getting what I'm telling you? Thank you very much if you are getting me. Okay, for the fact that you are come into realization that elements are made up of a group of atoms that cannot be further be broken down into simpler substance by any non-chemical means. Now, there are certain elements in which, not just certain elements, a group of elements over thousands of set elements in which scientists have approved that we should learn them. As scientists, we should learn them. Or if you have made your mind that you want to offer science one day, you should learn them and then understand them. But upon all these plenty elements, a group of elements in which scientists have proved that we should know them, it is only the first 20 elements in which it is assigned for JHS students to what? Know them in their head, know them by heart, know them and their atomic numbers, know them in order, know them according to how they have been arranged. Are you getting it? So if you are taking yourself to be a JHS student, that you like science, you learn science all the time, and for that matter, science is of your interest, then there's a need for you to understand the first 20 elements. There's a need for you to understand the first 20 elements. So the first 20 elements are going to be highlighted on the board as you are watching me. So with the first 20 elements, we have the first one with its atomic number to be what? 1. And the first element according to the periodic table is hydrogen. Hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first one. And the symbol of it is H, because every element is represented by what you call what? Chemical symbol. Every element is represented by what you call chemical symbol. So wherever you are, know every element, or any the 20 elements, know each of them and their what? And their chemical symbols. For example, hydrogen is with a chemical symbol H. Are you getting it? Hydrogen is with a chemical symbol H with atomic number 1. With atomic number 1. And we have helium. Helium. Helium is of a symbol or a chemical symbol He. He with atomic number 2. We have lithium. Lithium is Li with atomic number 3. And we have the next one. So we normally use a song to commit all of them into memorization. So to me, I have hello, Helena, little berry. And the berry is beryllium. With chemical symbol Be. And the atomic number is 3. So little berry boys. Boys. B stands for boy. So boron. Boron, which is B, with a chemical symbol with atomic number 4, point of correction. Boys car. So carbon. Carbon is C with atomic number 5. Atomic number 5. Now nitrogen. Nitrogen. Nitrogen is N. Nitrogen is N with atomic number 6. There are many in such a way that the board will not be able to accommodate all of them. And for that matter, I want to open the page for you, for the camera to reflect on it, so that you will see how they are. So cameraman, just come to the book. Just point them. So you can see it. There on the book we have hydrogen. And the hydrogen, it is H. The chemical symbol is H and the atomic number is 1. Helium, it is He. Helium is He. Helium is He with atomic number 2. We have beryllium with chemical symbol Be and the atomic number is what? 4. We have boron with atomic number 5 and the chemical symbol B. We have carbon with the chemical symbol C, atomic number 6. We have nitrogen with chemical symbol N and the atomic number 7. Oxygen is next with chemical symbol O, atomic number 8. Fluorine. If you have heard of fluorine before, With that one, its chemical symbol is F with atomic number 9. Neon is the 10th one, in which people normally consider it as an inert gas or a rare gas. And with neon, its atomic number is N. Its atomic number is 10 with a chemical symbol Ne. We have sodium. Sodium, the one that combines with chlorine to form salt, common salt. Its atomic number is 11 with chemical symbol Na. We have magnesium. Magnesium. Its chemical symbol is Mg. Mg with atomic number 12. We have aluminium, the one used for your roofing sheets. Aluminium, its chemical symbol is Al with atomic number 13. We have silicon. Silicon. Its atomic number is 14 with the chemical symbol Si. We have phosphorus with its chemical symbol P and the atomic number 5. Sulfur, its chemical symbol is S with atomic number 16. We have chlorine with its chemical symbol Cl and then atomic number 17. Argon is the 18th element as its atomic number and the symbol is Ar, followed by potassium with the chemical symbol K and then atomic number 19. And the last one which is calcium, its chemical symbol is Ca and the atomic number is 20. So now, with the first 20 elements which have come into memorization or which have been able to be understood very well by you, then we have to follow that to be able to do something in future. Because the first 20 elements, you have to know them in order. Know them in order in which they occur. Because it will come to a time that we'll be dealing with electronic configuration. And with electronic configuration, you have to know the atomic number before you'll be able to use that element with that atomic number to come out with a diagram representing that element. And how will you be able to commit that first 20 elements into memorization or into memory? That is why there's a need for you to master a song. So you need to master a song in which I'm going to deliver out to you right now. So if you master the song and master it clearly, then there will be no need for you picking the book, trying to chew everything into your mind. So take note of me. So as I was telling you that the first 20 elements, we have hydrogen, helium, going. Now, H stands for hello, Helena, little berry boys car now. So the hello is hydrogen, Helena, helium, little lithium, beryllium, boys, boron, carbon, now nitrogen, operate, oxygen, fission is fluorine, so that's F, fission, net, neon, nana, sodium, magnesium, all aluminium, school, silicon, prefix, phosphorus, shoe, sulfur, climb, chlorine, aeroplane, argon, cum, potassium, car, calcium. So the song is like this. Hello, Helena, little berry boys, car, now, operate, fishing, net. Nana, Maggie, all school, prefix, shoe, climb, aeroplane, cum, car. So wherever you are watching me, commit the song into memory and you'll be able to master it. You will know them in order in which they occur, because there is a need for you to know them in order as they occur. So if you are getting what I'm telling you, thank you very much as you continue. Okay, so these ones are the examples of elements that we have. And apart from that, we have special ones in which they do not form part of the periodic table. We have special ones in which they do not form part of periodic table, and those ones we also have them together with their chemical symbols. And their chemical symbol is used by other countries like Egypt, the Latin people, to name them on their own. So when you take an element like sodium, if you take an element like sodium, if you come to let me just say Ghana like this, we call it sodium. But when you go to the Latin country, they do not call it sodium. If you go to the Latin, their country, they have nothing like sodium. If you go and mention sodium to you, they will never know. But they call it natrium. Natrium. They call them natrium. So it is their way of calling the sodium in which they were able to drive out the chemical symbol from it to be what? Na. Na. That is why the symbol of sodium is Na. Are you getting what I'm telling you? So if you are getting me perfectly, then we can continue with our discussions. So apart from that, we have other elements like copper. Copper is not part of the first 20 elements, but for you to be able to know the chemical symbol, you have to know how the Latin people call copper. So if the Latin people call copper as coprum, coprum, so meaning the coprum, we can take the first Cu as the what? As the chemical symbol of copper. So the chemical symbol of copper is Cu. So wherever you are, take note of that. Are you getting it? We say sodium is Na, and the Latin people call it what? Natrium. Are you getting what I'm telling you? And more to the point, we have iron. Iron too is an element, but it is not part of the first 20 elements. Its chemical symbol is Fe. Fe. Somebody will say, why is it Fe but not IR? No. In every rule, there's an exception. This is because with Fe, the Latin people call it ferrum. The Latin people call it ferrum. Are you getting it? Latin people, they call it ferrum. So if they call it ferrum, then they took the Fe as a chemical symbol of it. I hope you are getting me clearly. And more to the point, we have an element like tin. Tin too is an element. Tin, Tin, tin. If you have ever come across tin in any book at all or in any class, you came across the element tin. Tin is an element because it is made up of a group of atoms. And with tin, its chemical symbol is Sn. And if it is Sn, Latin people will call it sternum. Latin people call tin as what? Sternum. They do not call it tin as we Ghanaians call it, but they call it what? Sternum. So wherever you are, know the chemical symbol of tin to be Sn, because you can be asked one day to represent certain elements by their chemical symbol. Okay. And let's come to an element like lead. Lead too is not part of the 20 elements. It is not part of the 20 elements. But it is what? An element. Are you getting it? So with lead, we can realize that in Latin they call it plumbum. Latin people call it plumbum with a chemical symbol Pb. You take the P and then you take the B. You combine them and it will become Pb. So if you are watching me, when you return back to school and in case they say, what is a chemical symbol of lead? Then it is what? Pb. It is what? Pb. And in Latin, they call it what? Plumbum. Plumbum. Okay. And then we have an element like mercury. 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 If not this lesson, somebody never knew that mercury too is an element. The only known liquid metal at room temperature is what? An element. So mercury is what? An element. And how do Latin people call it? In Latin, they call it what? Hydrogrum. Latin, they call it hydrogrum. And the chemical symbol is Hg. So in class, when you pick the class 4 book and open it, when you open the class 4 book and go to a topic like Cameraman, which topic can you find in mercury? Is it heat energy? When you pick the class book and move to heat energy, you will see mercury there. They do not use the name mercury in it, but they use the chemical symbol Hg. What it implies is that when you pick any other science book and come across Hg, meaning Hg stands for what? Mercury. I hope you are getting me clearly. Okay, then we can continue. And then we have what you call silver. Silver. You have silvers in the house. Sometimes your mommy will say, no, pick this silver for me.